Ah. Oh my god.
Yeah!
TerryByte.
People often accuse me for being a Nintendo fanboy. I don't know where they got that idea from. But in fact, Nintendo had very little to do with my childhood. In fact, I was a PS1 guy in my early days of video gaming. And there were two games out there that really captivated me back then during the PS1 era. And that would have to be Ape Escape and A Bug's Life. A Bug's Life. One of the first Pixar movies that made me into a drone that will now applaud anything that amazing studio puts out. I watched it during vacation care when I was little and was hooked immediately. The story, the characters, the colors, the concept, they all made me near obsessed with this flick. Woody Allen Ant and Jennifer Lopez Ant had nothing on this Pixar classic. But because my parents didn't want to rot my mind by buying me the movie on VHS just so I would watch it for hours on end, they instead bought me the game. That's some solid logic right there. A Bug's Life is definitely one of the few movie licensed games out there that really stuck with a lot of people of my generation. Hell, I know a lot of my friends who have very fond memories of this game. And this time I made sure, unlike Banjo-Tooie. Seriously, where the hell were you guys on that? I didn't know so many people liked that game. But the reviewers out there definitely didn't agree, so it really conflicted with me on whether or not this is a great game. I mean, I put so many hours into this, but was I just being a stupid little kid, or did the reviewers fail to see the magic this gem holds? Let's pop this bugger in. Well, let's go down memory lane.
Yeah!
Follow me.
Ant Island.
Oh, good lord, these graphics did not age well. Just, the textures and, Flick's face. We're in for a good time. Alright, let's get used to these controls again. Oh, I see. Yeah, this feels about right. Flick moves like he's on ice. On the dirt. Maybe it's my controller, but this is going to take a lot of getting used to. So this is your basic 3D platforming adventure, split up into 15 short levels that are set in different parts of the movie, such as the anthill, the city, and canyons. Sprinkled throughout are many different collectibles, like so many of these early platforming adventure games, and also a variety of enemies. How do we defeat them? Well, you can squish them, which I don't think is physically possible, unless Flick has the mass of a dying star, or by throwing berries. And these berries are... Wow, that is violent. Remember the days when graphics were so primitive that seeing your enemies flying into bits wasn't seen as violent? You know, Flick is just throwing berries around that his colony could be using as food. Instead, he's dismembering innocent bug life. Flick's a prick, but Flick doesn't care. Flick don't give a fuck.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. A real gangster type player plays his cards right. A real gangster.
Throughout the levels, you can also upgrade your berries, which bounce off bigger enemies, leaving Flick to pout.
These berries don't work.
Alright, no need to be a dick about it. Flick's a dick. 2 blueberries, green homing berries, and purple.
Mega homing berry.
And this upgrade system is quite varied. Some levels have a somewhat linear approach to the berry upgrade system, but others require you to go backstage to reach it after upgrading seeds, which I'll go into later. Other levels have none of the berries floating around, and instead you have to find tokens to plant berries and hence gain upgrades that way. So this really kept me guessing on what each level will be and how I should go about them and how I can get the elusive gold berry, which isn't homing. So why the hell would you want this? Because killing enemies with this berry does not cause enemies to respawn, and 100% extinction of all bug life is Flick's ultimate goal. Speaking of which, apart from just completing the goal of each level, you can also try to collect 50 bits of grain, collect 4 letters to spell Flick, man that's so 90s, and kill all enemies with the gold berry to 100% a level. And what's the reward for that? A terrible quality clip from the movie. Remember when actually watching clips from the movie was exciting? Yeah, me neither. You can also collect tokens that open up and upgrade the plants you can blossom using seeds around the level. You can plant leaves to jump on, vegetation that give Flick health and buffs, and mushrooms that you can bounce on, or flowers that lift you high into the air and make you... Oh, Flick, you're gonna vomit from all that spinning. Flick's sick. Although I have to say, I wish I could spin endlessly, but only Flick can. It's Flick's trick. I'm honestly surprised that so much thought and effort was put into a licensed game. This could have easily turned into a subpar platformer like Toy Story, but instead they try to create varied levels and strategies to spice up the gameplay. I can definitely see where the love for this adaptation came from. For a young mind who is absolutely captivated by the movie, this is a great way to engross yourself in that world. But it does have its misses. Because there is no incentive to collect anything, all that delicious level design is lost, and hence each level can take as little as 5 minutes. While nowhere near perfect, a lot of thought went into each level on how to gain better power-ups and hard to reach collectibles. But you can just gun for the end and complete it in a matter of minutes. Look how quick the first level is if you ignore the collectibles. Boy, Flick's quick. Hell, I'm sure you can complete this game in under 2 hours if you just didn't care about any of the bonus movie clips, which have the video quality of Night Trap. Another fault is that all the boss battles suck. All of them follow the same formula. Red berries don't work on them.
These berries don't.
Yeah, I know, Flick. So you have to find a way to collect blueberries and spam it until they die. That's it. With all the effort gone into making varied levels, I would have thought the bosses would have some diversity. I mean, at least they're short, but man, I just wish. Holy shit, he exploded! Flick's a crick. Slayer. Oh yeah, he's a grasshopper. But the boring bosses are not the biggest flaw, no. The biggest flaw is the controls itself. I could not get used to these controls. I really couldn't. The controls are so unbelievably slippy, and there is ridiculous momentum Flick carries when you just want him to stand. Flick just walks off the edge because of this weird momentum. It's like the developers looked at Mario's momentum from the original game, and then decided not to look at Super Mario 64 and thought, yup, this will work for a 3D platform adventure. No, I mean really. Look at the momentum you carry on after you stop the input. Playing through, I kept on running into enemies when I could have sworn I wouldn't have. I thought this was a hitbox detection problem, or maybe my depth perception was off, making me blinder than I already am. But it wasn't that. It was because Flick kept on moving even after you stopped, so Flick just runs into the enemy like an idiot. And some enemies just respawn out of nowhere or just show up. So even if you have the quickest, flickest reflexes, it won't stop you from running into enemies. It may seem like a nitpick of Flick, but this really gets annoying because although you get 5 hits, you get repeatedly hit because of these lagging controls, and you only get 5 lives throughout the entire game. And once you game over, you have to load back in and be stuck with 0 lives if you saved at that point. That's just annoying, isn't it, Flick?
Yeah!
I'm really torn about this. Playing A Bug's Life again was like a nostalgic trip for me, and it made me feel all fuzzy inside until I faced the slippy controls. It's a platformer where the controls aren't tight and responsive. And just like Glover, if the controls aren't tight and responsive in a platformer, you messed up. I really want to say the reviews are wrong and they fail to see the magic this gem brings, but I can see where they're coming from. With collectibles that have no weight or incentive, A Bug's Life just becomes a dash to the end. With frustrating controls, platforming becomes a chore. The visuals definitely have not aged well. The shields look like a PNG file, and the font used is, well, inspired? And Flick never shuts up.
This I can use. Well, isn't this nice? Progress. Day started off so nicely. Gotcha! Fresh air. Well, isn't this nice? Ah, the life of an ant. What a beautiful day in my neighborhood. Never too much grain. F-L-I-K.
Man, this is a really tough one. Replaying this, I definitely didn't enjoy every second. But there was something in it that really made me just want to complete it. One thing to be said is that this soundtrack is pretty jamming. It has a very primal nature vibe and it's really driven. But then the city themes. Oh hey, it's the circus bugs.
Excuse me, but can you handle grasshoppers?
Can we? If you need help handling a crowd, our troupe here guarantees a performance like no other. Why, when your grasshoppers arrive, we are gonna knock them dead!
And the Oscar goes to
Francis from A Bug's Life.
Stop! The being a ladybug automatically makes me a girl.
There wasn't really much of a conversation there, but Flick can convince anyone to do anything. Flick slick. Oh, and this is what happens after you defeat Hopper.
Help me! Help me! Ah!
Okay, just say your line once here, please. Once? But the script here says, help me twice. No, we're paying you per word. We just need it once. We'll just loop it. Okay. A Bug's Life has a lot of elements going for it, yet with frustrating controls, I don't know how I tolerated it when I was little. So, with all the flaws that I banged on about, why do so many people have fond memories of this movie licensed game? Well, I just answered my own question there, didn't I? A Bug's Life is a movie licensed game with thought and apparent effort put into its game design. It was faithful to the movie, and yet put its own spin on its source material. With all the garbage movie license games out there like Shrek's Treasure Hunt. This is perhaps one of the first times we saw a movie that we all enjoyed, not completely bastardized in a video game format. And that's where its magic lies. Flick, you get a tick. Flick's tick. You hear that, Charlotte Web? You could have been like this, but you didn't. You just had to go and destroy childhoods like the piece of shit you are!